Good morning, everybody, unless, of course, you happen to be watching this particular interview in the evening. In that case, good evening. And today we are here to interview the wonderful Ray. So, now, Ray, I'd like you to explain to me a little bit about what does your job entail?
So I'm the event manager for the North Territory. So my job is to work national and in territory to create and deliver a public events program that basically tells the stories of the sites and brings history to life for people.
What would you say was your first big step you made in on your current career path?
I started in the team as the events administrator about 10 years ago. And what we do within English Heritage in terms of heritage events is very unique. So a big learning curve, despite having done sort of corporate events in my past, while that was useful information, didn't really prepare me for this, which is great. And then throughout the last 10 years, it's just a case of kind of grabbing all the opportunities that come your way in terms of lots of different events and things that you can do.
What did you do before you came to English Heritage?
So I did work for a company where I was delivering sort of corporate events. So it was more in exhibition services. So I did that for a while, and that was more about sort of, the big conferences that you do, like at the NEC and things like that.
I'm sure many of people watching this interview have been to an event, but would you mind explaining some of the different types of events that you have been responsible for over the years?
I think the biggest series that we're probably best known for is our legendary Jousts series. So that's the one I think that everybody kind of goes, oh yeah, that's what events do. But we do lots of other stuff as well. So we do Knights tournaments, we do Clash of Romans, we do Enchanted series at Christmas, we do Illuminated series in the autumn, we do An Audience for Father Christmas, we do Blooming Gardens, we do Brass Band Sundays, we do Swing into Spring. We do a wide range of events that suit the different sites and the different stories of those sites. We also as well work on, and we've got a new series coming out this year, the Pirates series, and we also work on events that are bespoke to sites that tell, that support either specific stories and tell those specific stories, or support like capital investment projects.
So when it comes to organising an event, what's the process? How does it go from let's put on an event to actually putting on the event? What are some of the important key factors in that process?
So many things to consider. I think we need to think about the site, what the story of the site is, what the site looks like, what type of site it is. We also need to think about what might be interesting to our visitors, and as part of our overall visitor experience, the kind of stories that they want to hear and the things that they want to be involved in. We also need to think about the kind of financial implications of an event, what it's going to cost us. We need to talk to our performers. We work with a wide raft of really unique performers who work within heritage, and a lot of the times they've got great ideas and they have strengths that we can utilize to create a really good event. And then we need to reach out to all of the different partners across all the different departments. So we talk with all our commercial partners in sort of retail and F&B and in membership. And we're talking to all our site ops teams and our territory teams, so that we're telling the right stories at the right places at the right times.
Has there been any events which you're like halfway through the process and then you realize this is just completely unviable, and or is that something that once you've started, you're going right the way through?
No, absolutely. Particularly when we're looking at events that sort of celebrate an anniversary, for example, we will start to work up, ideas and, sort of thought processes and pull in loads of feedback from people around us. And sometimes you do get to a stage where you look at it and think, we've got loads of great ideas and we really want to develop it, but actually it's just not going to work at all. In which case, then you go back to the drawing board and start again. It's part of the process.
In your time with English Heritage, what would you say has been your number one favourite event to be a part of?
Wow, what a question. So many great events. I think probably the one that was the best and worst event that I've ever been involved in. We did in celebration of the 950th anniversary of the Battle of Hastings, we did a march where we had a group of performers who rode and walked from the Eye of York to Battle Abbey, right through the country day after day. And we ran sort of support with them. So we were kind of stopping traffic and, you know, arranging, you know, where they were going to meet up and either mount up or demount, where the horses were going to stay, where the performers were going to stay, where they were going to eat. It was, you know, a lot of planning, obviously in advance, but a lot of it you just had to manage on the ground. And I think that was a massive undertaking and a great experience.
I mean, that sounds very good. That does. What would you say makes an event? What would you say really brings an event to life for the public?
I think it's got to be content that engages. We always say as a team that we look at learning through stealth. So the idea is that you come along to the site, you've got this fantastic historic site with all its amazing gardens and its amazing buildings. You've got this great visitor experience from the minute you arrive, and you go through then and you engage with the content, regardless of whether that's, you know, arena displays with horses in it, or it's, you know, whatever that looks like. And you have a great day and you have some great food, and then you go home and you sort of sit on the sofa and you think, oh, I learned something. So it's almost like, you know, you're just absorbing history kind of almost organically as part of that event process. So we don't ever intend to kind of force it down people's throats. We're very much about, you've had a great day, but you've also picked up some really great knowledge.
People who are interested in taking a similar career path to yourself, would you have any tips or advice you might want to give to them?
I think consider an appropriate degree. It doesn't necessarily have to be in event management, but something that's relatable. So it could be history, you know, it could be kind of business management, something that gives you a solid foundation. And then I think volunteer. I'm all about the volunteering. You know, the more experience you get in lots of different, you know, environments, the more you've got to bring to the table. What we do at English Heritage is quite unique. So it's not like there's another job out there where we'd be like, perfect, you're the one for us. But, you know, volunteering is really important. You know, either volunteering, we have a massive volunteering program across English Heritage, but also for events. But, you know, your local fun fairs, you know, big things like Download or you know, Glastonbury, you know, anything like that gives you the right experience. And, you know, sometimes you might look at the job on paper and think, oh, that sounds fantastic, that's what I want to do. But the reality of it might be different. So I think be sure that it's absolutely what you want, because it's quite hard work, but it also has massive rewards.
What did you study?
I actually, I studied nursing, so that was my original career. There's always transferable skills, and there's always ways that you can apply those skills and develop them further to apply them to whatever you change your mind to do. I think it's difficult when you're 18, isn't it? You think, this is what I want to do. I'm absolutely certain this is where my life's going to go. And by the time you're 25, you're just like, nope. So, you know, there's never any reason not to change, but that's where things like volunteering and sort of doing extra courses can be your friend, because it gives you then the skills that you need to transfer over and change your career.
When it comes to, like, take the jousting event, for instance, as that seems to be one of the most visually striking, as it were. Yeah. How important are the volunteers in an event like that?
Very important for us, because when you're running a big arena show, and although there's an awful lot going on in the event around that, the joust itself obviously is held in an arena. When you are doing that, the arena needs to be manned, and that's the really important bit for safety. So we need to make sure that, because you always get those little kids who want to come under and get closer to the horses, and, you know, there's various different roles that happen within that, and volunteers for us are really key. They're also really, really great as a point of contact for our visitors. Quite often when we're on the ground, we're super busy, and so are our site teams, because obviously they're working kind of the retail and catering side of things. Whereas our volunteers can be a great visual point of contact for our visitors to go up to and ask those questions. What time is this happening? Where can I find this? So volunteers are really important.
Before you became involved in English Heritage, and before you got your present job at the moment, did you attend many, had you attended many events beforehand? And what were they, if you had?
Yeah, I had. Originally, I was a reenactor myself.
Ooh.
So
Now, before we go any further, you have to tell us, what were you reenacting?
So I've done a number of periods actually. I've done Norman, Saxon, Viking. I've done medieval Wars of the Roses, and I've done Border Reivers. So yes, I have attended a lot of events, but on the other side. So I was the one who was there and dressing up and providing the content basically. So it's kind of stepping out and doing it the other way.
Looking forward to the future, is there any events which you've had in your mind and you've thought, oh, you know what, I've been to that place and it'd be so cool to do this sort of event? Have you ever been there and thought that and maybe plan to do something in the future? Or is that completely like top secret, like CIA stuff?
It's one of those situations where, we could tell you, but, it wouldn't go well. No, we always have loads of great ideas. I think the one that we're excited about delivering this year is the Pirates series. We've wanted to do it for a very long time, and we're really excited to start delivering it this year.
So, people sitting at home, I hope you enjoyed this, and please check out the rest of the Shout Out Loud YouTube page to see what other beautiful interviews you have. You can watch the one of me interviewing Kingston, the head of commercial development, or you can watch all the other young producers and their interviews as well. So thank you to everybody. Thank you for your time, Ray, and cheerio.